Hi everyone, I'm Ali GREYMOND. Today I'm answering questions about OCD recovery that you left below my Ask a Question for Q&A video. We will start with a channel supporters and then go to everyone else. If you would like to become a supporter, click the join button and you will get priority in Q&A. So first question is, hi Ali, thank you so much. My questions are the following. Whenever I try to tell myself that I need and want to do recovery, my mind, or maybe it's me, I'm not sure, tells me, no, you actually don't. You want to live with these thoughts and maybe experience these feelings and urges. The scariest thing is that it feels that it's actually true, and that's what I actually want and who I actually am. Do you think it's still OCD? When these moments happen, it's really, really hard for me to believe that it indeed is OCD. It absolutely is OCD. This is exactly how OCD comes in and tries to scare people. But it feels every single person says, but it feels so real. This is like the hallmark of OCD. But it feels real. The possibility of something bad feels real. In this case, the possibility of you wanting to have these thoughts or wanting to have these feelings, urges, feels so real, and and that's what grabs you. So no, of course it's OCD. Again, pretend like this is your next door neighbor saying something and you happen to overhear it. So you overheard it. So what? Choose to disregard. This is all a lie. And this is actually a very, very common OCD situation. Next question is, I get really weird and strong urges or feelings and sensations. It feels like I want to have them in my body, and then when I try to ignore them, it feels like denial. Can OCD create false feelings and false attraction? Absolutely, it can. And this is kind of the same as part one, anyway, right? So it's of course it can create all those feelings. The brain governs the whole body, so it can make you have physical sensations, urges, feelings, can send images, can even send OCD thoughts or OCD situations in dreams. All of this is classic. So just look at it: thought disregarding, sensation disregarding, urge disregarding. And the kind of how OCD gets to you specifically is it's trying to come in like it's trying to make you feel like you want them, right? So again, that's a lie. Disregard. The way you want to respond when you feel that, when you feel like you want it, or what if I want it, or I feel like I want it, however it comes in, doesn't matter. You just say, yeah, sure, of course I want it, of course, disregarding, like that. Very sarcastic, don't care, choosing not to give into it. That has to be how you're handling these thoughts. So next question is, since I have started ERP for my PRO, my intrusive thoughts and images keep on changing. Why does this happen? What should I do? Don't do anything else than what you're doing. You are doing the right things. The reason why it's changing is because before, your brain would throw something against the wall and it would stick. And that's why the thought wouldn't switch, because you're actively feeding it. Now your brain's throwing something against the wall. Nope, not sticking. Another one. Nope, not sticking. And that's why it keeps this rapid fire going. It will eventually slow down as you keep reinforcing to your mind that you're disregarding, you don't care, throw whatever you want at me, I'm not buying it anymore. So you have to stay on the path of recovery right now. That's your only job. You're doing good, and this just shows that you're doing good. If you're stuck on a thought and it's not budging, that's when you know you're feeding it. You're not doing well. But right now you're doing good, so just stick with it. Next question is running a conversation over and over in your head for clarity a sign of OCD? Yes, it is a sign of OCD. First of all, because you're doubting it as what if it's OCD. I've never seen people doubt what if it's OCD and it ends up being not OCD. So it definitely is just based on that. And because also this is anxiety and you feel like you want clarity, that's also a sign that it's OCD, right? Because you're trying to figure something out. You're trying to get reassurance, in short. And again, this is a reassurance behavior. Don't do it, because this just gets you in deeper into OCD. Next question is, Hi Ali, whenever I decide to quit smoking, I try to imagine only good images while having the last puff. Is there a scary image, or if there's a scary image or a theme related to the family member or children, I end up lighting another one, and this leads to develop other types of OCD, such as health OCD. It is happening since quite a long time. I don't know if I had OCD. I didn't know I had OCD and struggled a lot. Your videos helped me a lot. I'm happy to help. I started exposure work and I feel better. Please talk something about this type of OCD. And it's my day 3 today without smoking. Got a very scary thought while having the last puff, but decided not to react. It's helping. Thanks a lot. See, this is exactly right. Choose not to react. This whole thing of OCD, a OCD situation of doing something with bad thoughts, right? If I have a bad thought, I have to undo it, or I have to neutralize it with a good thought. This is so common. This is classic OCD. And the more you fall into it, the worse it's going to get. And it can get pretty bad. So it's just saying no. This is your brain on autopilot sending you the thought. This is not some metaphysical situation. It's literally just your computer sending you a thought. It doesn't know what it's about, so it's just sending it. If it was about the red balloon, your fears, then it would send you that. It really knows no difference. So it's not giving you any new information. It's not a law of attraction, right? This is another thing that people kind of fall into. This is just clearly OCD just trying to get you on something. So you want to on purpose do the wrong thing, right? As in OCD's eyes, right? So OCD tells you, oh no, you have to undo this. You can't have your last puff be, with bad thoughts. Well, guess what? It's going to be with bad thoughts, right? Kind of taking it like that. And same for the other OCD stuff, right? The health stuff and all the other stuff that whatever, don't care, disregarding. Don't Google, don't analyze, don't ask people about it. Just choose to disregard and continue to move on through the day. Like, okay, right now, what am I doing? I'm focusing on this, then I'm going to focus on that. In terms of real life things, trying to keep yourself in the present moment as much as possible. Next question is it OCD that I used to worry about something would happen to my parents when they went out? Yeah, and then this is actually a very, very common OCD as well. I see it a lot in children, as well as if people have parents who are elderly or who or just whom they're very close to. That happens as well, but with kids, it's extremely common. Next question is I have sensorimotor OCD. Recently, I got the theme where I feel like I'm hyper aware of when I should inhale and exhale. I even feel that I'm holding my breath subconsciously at times. My breathing just feels totally out of whack. I feel like I can't breathe normally again. What's your advice? Breathing OCD is extremely common. So, the way you want to handle it is you want to say, yeah, I'm just going to suffocate. If I don't control my breathing, I'm just going to suffocate. That's just what's going to happen. Okay, disregarding. And, as soon as you feel like your mind is actively trying to focus on the breathing, try to do some sort of an action, because when you're doing an action and you're focusing on the action that you're doing, like I'm gonna say if you're talking or if you're close to other people at the time, talk to somebody, right? Not about OCD, but just generally, right? So then you're focused on the conversation, or I'm gonna clean this up if you're just in the house right now, or I'm gonna do this part of some sort of work done, right? So you're always refocusing your attention, but you refocus and then it goes back to it, and then you refocus and then it goes back to it. That's gonna be how your OCD is gonna go, how the recovery process is gonna go. But more so, as you keep going, you will see that your mind is not as fixated on it. Don't Google anything. Don't try to figure it out. This is just classic OCD. Don't get into it. Next question is I have had ROCD for more than 10 years, more than 10 years ago, which lasted about 2 years. I married the girl eventually. I thought that OCD would never come back, even though in many occasions I had the thoughts, I'm not attracted to her much, I'm not loving her enough, but without anxiety, so I somehow accepted them as normal. And see, because you stopped taking them kind of seriously. I mean, you accepted them, but still, you got past the anxiety. I don't really kind of believe much in the acceptance, because some things you can accept and some things you can't. So it's not really kind of a foolproof method of OCD recovery, because it can just come up with a different theme, right? But in that specific situation, because you stopped reacting with anxiety to it, however you did it, right? But still, you stopped reacting with anxiety to it and it went away. So now, 2 months ago, the horrific OCD feeling came back in the form of POCD, and after some time, the same ROCD came back too, as long as some random themes, as I mean, as long as some random themes that are not so sticky. I'm assuming you mean not as long, but also other themes. I'm doing the work you recommended. I'm pretty satisfied with the recovery with how the recovery is going. I'm confused about ROCD. Is it possible that I've never actually recovered from it, even though I thought I have? Well, I think because you just accepted it, and because you just did the acceptance, it came back at a new angle, right? And now it's adding POCD, and you can't accept that, so it's kind of puts you in this situation, right, of fear, right? So instead of saying like, okay, maybe I don't care about her or whatever, right? What you want to say is, that's all nonsense. That's all my next door neighbor talking. I'm just overhearing autopilot. I don't care. POCD, don't care. ROCD, don't care. Choosing to disregard. So as the thought, when it comes in, that's the exposure. And how you are reacting either makes the thought more important or less important. So you have to just be like, nope, not buying into it. And then your brain will be like, but what if it's true? But disregarding, don't care. So that makes you bulletproof. So no matter what your brain says, you're not running for it. You're not trying to figure it out. OCD tells you to jump. You're no longer jumping. You're not jumping. You're not accepting. You're just saying, this is irrelevant. That's going in one lane and I'm driving in this lane. It can go on over there and I don't care. And at first it's going to be very, very difficult, because it is over there, but it's very loud over there. But as you kind of stay on the path as much as possible, and this is what I say with Puro type of themes, track the amount of time you're giving it, because it's impossible to give it 0 minutes in the beginning when it really hits you. It's impossible to give it 0 minutes, but it's possible to give it less time, and that's what you need to do. So what I want you to do is to treat all of these OCD themes as the same. The content doesn't matter. It's just grabbing on to, and this progression from ROCD to POCD is also very common, because it's just trying to kind of trump one with another, saying, you're no longer afraid of ROCD? Okay, I'll send you POCD. Let's see if you're going to be afraid there. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's upping a level, right? And that's why I find that the acceptance generally doesn't work, but saying it's my next door neighbor, who cares what he says, really does. Also, I somehow realized that before I was never doing ERP as you suggested. It was more like expose yourself and be afraid. So eventually the level of anxiety will go down, which is actually how I understood most psychologists suggest. Also mine at the time. Well, it's expose yourself and and feel the fear, but understand that it's just in its own lane, so it's not what you were doing is not entirely wrong, but it's just the acceptance thing made you never kind of fully get over ROCD, because it can always up a level to the point where you can't accept it, right? So I think that just disregarding, it's just over there, who cares what it's saying, is the best idea. And relationship OCD and POCD are very, very common. They're both just classic OCD. Hi, Ali. I have harm OCD. Another classic. I get urges that I feel like I want to act on the thought, or I get an image when I'm sitting in jail. Why does OCD do this? It's doing it because it's trying to get you. And it will continue to try to get you, but you have to say like, no, I don't care, I'm just not taking it seriously. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm in jail, and jail looks like this or jail looks like that, right? Because it's sending you images, right? So play with that image. Okay, maybe I'm in this kind of jail or that kind of jail, you know. Don't allow yourself to get into a rumination about it. Urges are very common, especially with harm OCD. So basically, oh, you're sending me an urge? All right, whatever. Sending me an image of a jail? Okay, whatever. So, like that, throughout the whole day. And if you're ruminating, guys, I'm telling you, I've been doing this for over 10 years. The recording of the time really works. It's important. So you're recording not how many thoughts you're getting when you're not recording the autopilot. That's not you. But you're recording how much time you're devoting to the response to the autopilot. That's the priority right now. So I'm paying attention for, say, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Okay, so in the last 3 hours, maybe it was, say half an hour altogether. So, and then you add it up throughout the day, and the next day you try to do just a little bit better. And little by little, you will get through it. Next question is, how do you stop OCD from convincing? I've been convinced to the max with mine that I don't really have any anxiety anymore, and I don't feel like myself as well. Still have intrusive thoughts. Any sudden memory lost? And is sudden memory lost come with OCD? So OCD feels very real, and I'm not sure what kind of OCD you have, but especially with false memory OCD, a lot of the times the person will say, well, at least it wasn't like this. And then whatever the thought, the situation, and then the next day it will be feeling like, oh no, it actually was like this. So that's a common way OCD goes. And sudden memory loss common with OCD. In terms of real memory loss, some small things can get by you, such as, oh, where did I leave my keys? Or, oh, I forgot to call this person, or I forgot to do this. Those kinds of small things can escape you just because your mind is on fire. In terms of big things, generally people don't forget big things, OCD or not OCD. So if you're asking me for reassurance, could you forget something and do something bad and forget about it? I'm not sure if you have false memory OCD or not, but in that case, no, you can't do something bad and forget about it. You would never do that. That would never happen, in terms of memory. So that's not really a thing. In terms of just small memory loss because you're just not focused on real life right now, yeah, that can happen, and it goes away the more you recover from OCD, the further you go, the more room you have for real life. So again, with the convincing, the thoughts being convincing to the max, it's the more you buy into it, the more you try to organize them in your mind, try to figure them out, the more convincing they will be. The more you just leave them, the less convincing they will become. But not leaving them as in accepting them, but leaving them as in, it's my next door neighbor, don't care, like that. Next question is, hello, Ali. I just had breathing OCD just a week ago, and my third day of exposure, like actually the whole day, is an exposure. I kind of got the hang of it now, but my fear is, what if later I would think this about my breathing again? Like I try my best to ignore it, and it keeps coming. Can you help me? So, well, when it happens, I will deal with it. If you know how to deal with it now, you will know how to deal with it then. Again, next door neighbor talking, again disregarding. So anything from the past, from the future, figuring it out, don't do it. Don't Google, don't ruminate. A lot of people asking about breathing. It's actually a very common OCD. Next question is this. This is different people. How do I deal with breathing awareness at night? Breathing hyper awareness makes it hard for me to sleep. I don't know if it's possible for my nighttime breathing OCD triggers to stop occurring. Feeling pretty sleep deprived currently. So, try to have some other activity until you fall asleep. Because if you're just laying there and focusing on your breathing, it's basically got you where it wants you. You know, your mind is not occupied with anything else. There's no other activity going on. You're laying down. You know, it just got you basically. So, try to read a book or just meditation is not really the best idea just because it focuses more on the breathing. But I would say reading a book or browsing your phone, just do it in like the sleep mode, so it's not like bright on your eyes. But just something to get your attention off of your breathing. And if you feel like you just can't, then get up and do something and then come back in a few minutes when you feel like you're a little more sleepier. Because your body is still going to be sleepy. It's just that the focusing on the breathing is preventing you from being able to go to sleep because you're stressed and you're tense. And another question about breathing is, hi Ali, I have to manually breathe every second of the day. I don't know what I can do about it. Thank you. So, the more you focus on the breathing and the more you try to control it, the worse this is going to get. So you have to start letting it go. So even if you let it go for like, okay, for the next 5 minutes, I am not going to control it. I'm going to focus on this and try to find an activity that will be something physical, such as, okay, I'm going to lift this object from here to here, and while I do this, I'm not going to focus on the breathing, just so you start to get accustomed that if you don't control it, nothing bad is going to happen. The body will naturally kick in and kind of make this process automatic. It's already automatic, but because you're controlling it, you're kind of like messing with it being automatic right now. So do something physical and let the body kick in by itself. And you can do it in small increments of time and then increase as you start to feel more comfortable. Next question is um, I get caught up in my thoughts and get so far into my thinking that I'm contemplating suicide. I see myself as a miserable mother a mother destroying the lives of her children and her husband. And some advice: track rumination. You have to track rumination. You can't recover from OCD when you are constantly ruminating. So start to reduce. And by reducing, I don't mean all or nothing. I mean literally just a few percent each day, better than previous day. And try to have more activity going on, being around people and all of this kind of stuff, because if you're by yourself and you have the opportunity to analyze and to ruminate, you will. So make this is very common OCD. Make this topic or topics of your themes completely off limits. So I'm not giving in. I'm choosing to disregard. I'm going to go do this. When you go and do this, whatever this is, right? Like playing, like, doing stuff around the house, like playing with children, doing stuff around the house, this or that, you will not feel good about it, but at least you're not ruminating. And then as you reduce rumination, you will see that you start to feel better about things. You start to feel better about life. So it's just a process of going from point A to point B, little by little getting out of your mind, out of your thoughts, and into the present life. And it's just a little bit each day. You can do this. I've recovered. Look how many people are recovering. You just need to do the right things. With OCD, the one thing is it works on a pattern. So that makes it, recovery is not easy, but at least it makes it like a blueprint where if you just do these right things, you will feel better. It's hard to do the right things, but at least you know what to do. It's not kind of all uncertain and everything, like that, right? So it's just today I'm going to analyze less. Another thing sometimes works for people is if they give themselves pockets of time where, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm just going to stay busy and I'm not going to analyze, and I'm going to make it through the 15 minutes. And do this practice a few times a day. When you master 15 minutes, 20 minutes. For next 20 minutes, I'm focused, I'm not analyzing, right? And kind of increase from there. So both of those work. It's what would work better for you. And if you need extra help, my program is always available. You can write in the comments under the videos, and I'm sure people will help you as well. You just gotta come out of it. It's just doing daily work. We're all, many people have already done the work, and many people are doing the work. So we're all kind of in this together, and you gotta swim, you gotta push. Next question is, I started ERP a while back, but it's getting harder to disregard lately. How should one increase concentration? So, meaning concentration on OCD recovery, I think just having a plan. And when I say track the time, so say, for example, between 9 and 12, okay? So like every 3 hours, and at the end of, say, 9 to 12, you're doing the best you can. At 12, you look back and you're like, oh, how much did I ruminate? But it helps. And then same 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and so on, right? So in that time space, I allow myself a maximum of this time no matter what. So you're kind of saying that, okay, yeah, I'm tracking the time, but I also know that my max is this. So you don't allow yourself to go past it. And that's also how you keep yourself motivated, concentrated, and on track. Next question is, it's been 6 months since I started recovery. I feel depressed and angry. Is it normal? And my brain hurts. Means it runs during sleep. Thank you so much. Appreciate your work. Stay blessed. Thank you so much. If you're doing physical compulsions, track the amount of compulsions. If you're ruminating, track the rumination, because it if you are feeling depressed, angry, if you're not seeing, I'm assuming that you're saying, well, if you're saying that you're feeling depressed and angry because you're not seeing progress, that means there's a leakage in your boat somewhere. You got to find the leakage. Where are you ruminating that you're not realizing you're ruminating? Where are you doing compulsions that you're not realizing, right? So you have to figure that out. What is happening? Like where's the problem, right? Where's the leakage? And then if you are just asking about just feeling depressed and angry, so you're doing fine in the recovery, but it's just overall you feel depressed and angry, it could be that you are also overdoing it, because anger is actually a very common part of OCD recovery process. What happens is, if in their mind, right, in their head, the person is pushing, they're doing recovery work, or they're just ruminating, either way, but they're spending so much extra energy, and then say somebody just said something, or somehow sidetrack them for a second, and the person just explodes because they can't handle anymore. They're just at their limit. So I would say, do recovery work, but also allow yourself time to recuperate, right? So if that means taking a nap, if that means just somehow giving yourself a little bit of a break, so you're not always on, so to speak, right? So you have downtime as well. And then the depression, just look at the depression as a side effect of having OCD. Of course, if you are in OCD, it's a depressing situation, but you will come out of it, and then the depression will lift by itself. Another question I have. Hey, Ali, I've sent you a few emails on how to start your recovery program. Do I just directly pay, or is there a process? So with the recovery program, it's very simple. You go on the website, you choose which package works best for you. So there's a package that's like, every day, every other day, twice a week, once a week, and just one session. The reason why I have so many packages is because everybody's situation is a little different, and some people need this amount of time versus some people need that amount of time. So that's why I kind of have it broken down like that. And then once you purchase the package, you see my schedule below. You set the time on the schedule. It shows it in your time zone. I talk to people all around the world, so it automatically converts the time that you see to your time. And then we meet at the scheduled time. I believe that's all the questions for today. I will be back with another Q&A tomorrow. I believe that this will be the last Q&A because now I have regular videos coming up. So, but I will be doing another one in maybe like a week or two. So, if you haven't asked a question, please ask below this video or any of the other videos, and I will get to them as well. If you want your question to be answered in the priority, you can always click the join button on the help support the channel program, and that way your question will be answered first. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. My recovery program is available on youhaveocd.com. I'll see you tomorrow.